You're listening to the Sports Circus, and I'm Mike Golick.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMTV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA, prime, Angus, and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. Yes! All right, a big welcome in, everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents from coast to coast. Everybody else watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, Comcast, and Charter cable affiliates in select markets, as well as Hotel TV, plus everybody else streaming on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check that out, Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, and plus everybody else in all four corners of the earth for all you flat earthers out there. All right. And by the way, folks, we're going to go ahead and give you a shot to pick up a couple of nights in Las Vegas, a couple of nights in Branson, Missouri, or a couple of nights in Orlando from Vacation Buddies. If you can answer the simple trivia question, what NBA star, what NBA superstar has won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the number, call 888-576-5777. That's 888-576-5777. 888-576-5777. Give them the answer to that simple trivia question for 2 nights in Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida, if you know which NBA star has won 6 NBA championships in this list, and that's A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan. Again, Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with the station, but they sure want to give you a couple of free nights in Vegas, Branson, or Orlando. So give them a call at 888-576-5777. Do it right now. All right. Okay, again, thanks for joining us here on the Sports Circus. And there's been an ongoing battle between a very, very good pitcher in Major League Baseball and the court system. And you want to talk about somebody being wronged. And I mean wronged. In my opinion, I can say that because it's my opinion. Here, we're talking about a guy by the name of Trevor Bauer. And Trevor Bauer finally has, I guess you could call it his day in court, when the LA court awards Trevor Bauer a piddly $310,000 from Lindsey Hill, who accused Trevor of sexual assault. And this was, I think, about 4 years ago. So, nonetheless, 2 years after settling with sexual assault accuser Lindsey Hill, former Major League Baseball pitcher Trevor Bauer won a default judgment in LA Superior Court, with Hill ordered to pay him $310,000 for violating their settlement agreement, which prohibited both parties from discussing the case publicly. Now, the LA Times reported that Hill breached the agreement by discussing Bauer on podcast and in other appearances. Now, the court, presided over by LA Superior Court Judge Daniel Crowley, awarded Bauer $220,000 for 22 violations of the agreement, with a final amount of $309,832.02 owed by Hill. So far, Hill is the only party ordered to pay in their legal dispute, and she sued for sexual assault and battery, while Bauer countersued for defamation. And of course, this guy used to do what? He used to pitch for the LA Dodgers, among a few other teams as well. And of course, he claims Let's face it, Major League Baseball has blackballed him from following accusations and, well, that whole rape idea by Lindsey Hill, which he has consistently denied as false. Now, following the allegations, Bauer was placed on administrative leave by Major League Baseball, suspended for 194 games without pay, and reportedly lost more than $30 million in salary plus endorsements. In fact, in August of 2021, LA Superior Court Judge Diana Gould-Saltman denied Hill's request for a permanent restraining order against Bauer, ruling her claims as, quote, materially misleading. Now, text messages and photos from the morning after the alleged April and May 2021 sexual assaults, which Hill claimed involvement non-consensual assault and battery during consensual encounters, appeared to contradict her accusations. And Hill addressed the settlement on X, stating, quote, he will never see a cent from me, close quote. Now, think about this. Trevor Bauer last pitched in Major League Baseball on June 28th of 2021. You're talking about 4 years ago here. For the Dodgers, of course, spanning a 10-season career with a sparkling 3.79 ERA as a starting pitcher, 1,416 strikeouts, and an 83-69 record in 222 games. That's pretty damn good. And of course, the records go bigger and bigger, but what I did was I found something on X, and actually I went to Trevor Bauer's personal profile where he had stated a little something about this. And look, folks, I feel for him because he was targeted, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, right? And my opinion is just that. But this is a statement from Trevor Bauer on his X account. Let's go ahead and let this play.
Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal? She asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday, she said. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then, after the first time we met, net worth is 51 mil, she said. Bitch, you better secure the bag, was the response. But how is she going to do that? Need daddy to choke me out, she said. Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you got to get this bag. I'll give you 50,000, Lindsay replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, do you feel a tiny bit guilty? Not really, she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th and why the video was originally concealed from us. After hearing the evidence available to her, Judge Diana Gould-Saltman found that Lindsey Hill had misled the court. She found her claims to be materially misleading. She denied her request for a domestic violence restraining order, and she found that no sexual assault or non-consensual conduct took place. Now, some of you might not know about restraining order hearings. I know I didn't, but I've since learned that it's extremely rare for a request for a restraining order to be denied because the standard of proof that you need to obtain one is extremely low. So you can make of that what you will. The fact is, I was never arrested. I was never charged with a crime, and I won the only legal proceeding that took place without my side of the story even being heard. And most importantly, as I've said from day one, I never sexually assaulted Lindsey Hill, or anyone else for that matter. So I sued her, which prompted her to countersue me. Quite frankly, regardless of the outcome in court, I've paid significantly more in legal fees than Lindsey Hill could ever pay me in her entire life. And I knew that would be the case going in. But the lawsuit was never about the money for me. It was the only way for me to obtain critical information to clear my name. The discovery process in that lawsuit recently concluded, at which point Lindsay Hill's legal team again came to us with another proposal to resolve the case. This time, however, they weren't seeking any money from me. Having received much of the information that had been hidden from us, a small portion of which I've referenced here, I was willing to agree to the terms proposed. Both parties would drop their respective lawsuits, and neither of us would pay either side any money. I also retained my right to speak publicly about the case, something I have not been at liberty to do since June of 2021. So, as of today, both lawsuits have been settled. Now, over the last 2 years, I've been forced to defend my integrity and my reputation in a very public setting, but hopefully this is the last time I have to do so, as I'd prefer to just remain focused on doing my job, winning baseball games and entertaining fans around the world. So today, I'm happy to be moving on with my life.
All right, folks, we're going to be back here in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. I want to pick up with this on Trevor Bauer. Now, that was done a while back with that video or that audio feed that you just heard for everybody that's just listening. And I want to talk a little bit more about Trevor, and then we're going to move on. We have something else in baseball to get to. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Sports Circus. Back in a few. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. Folks, make sure you check them out. Yes! All right, a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates and independents, including our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM. Thanks for waking up with us over there. And just a little bit down the road in Auburn, Alabama, thanks for driving home with us on WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves, as well as all of our friends up and down the heartland, all the way out to the West Coast. Everybody driving up and down Interstate 15 on your way to or from Las Vegas from sunny Southern California. Thanks for joining us on Highway Country Radio 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM, as well as everybody in LA up to San Francisco, all the way to Seattle and Anchorage, where our affiliates up there, all the way down to Honolulu, CBS Sports 1500 KHKA. That's home of the 49ers, Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Plus, welcome into everybody that is listening in and watching also on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Charter, WOW, and independent cable affiliates in select markets, Hotel TV, where applicable. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook, a fun group to talk about your favorite restaurants, your favorite recipes, your favorite foods, and go make some friends. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Nice round of applause for them. And by the way, folks, in case you're just tuning in here, in the last segment, we gave a trivia question for listeners to potentially pick up a couple of nights, compliments of vacation buddies in fabulous Las Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida, with the answer to a simple trivia question. Here's the question in case you're just tuning in. Which NBA superstar has won 6 NBA championships? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Shaquille O'Neal, C, Kobe Bryant, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Again, 888-576-5777. That is from Vacation Buddies. They want you to pick up a couple of nights, and guess what? They're not affiliated with this station, but give them a call. Give them a call and give that winning number, that winning A, B, C, or D, that trivia question, and get yourself a couple of nights in Vegas, Branson, Missouri, or Orlando, Florida. All right. Now back to this Trevor Bauer thing. I mean, this is pretty important. I can tell you, as a former player, as a former pitcher as well. Look, at this particular time, you take a look at a very, very good pitcher like Trevor Bauer. Man, this guy was good. He wasn't just a one-off, one-time around. Look, he broke in back in the majors back in 2012 with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he spent 6 years with the Cleveland Indians and then a couple of seasons with the Cincinnati Reds before signing with the Dodgers, a big $102 million deal, if I'm not mistaken, something to that effect. And because of this whole alleged situation, this whole legal nonsense, which sure seemed to be like a big fat plant. Well, anyway, it looks like the guy lost tens of millions of dollars being Trevor Bauer. And I guess the bigger question is, since he couldn't talk till 2023, that was the audio that you just heard, that was on X. Back then it was Twitter. I guess the question is, what would he have made if he did not sign with the Yokohama Bay Stars, right? 2023, 25 through present, whatever. What would Trevor Bauer have made if he finished his Dodger career? He lost out on all that money, all the endorsements, and then technically it would be the next contract. And the way money is being doled out in today's time, you look at some of these ridiculous pitchers' contracts for mediocre talent, I would argue he probably lost another $50 to $100 million. And so the bigger question is, how does he recover that money? Well, I don't think he does recover the money, and this is the problem. So apparently, the person who accused him of doing things he did not do, as the judge had seen, well, I guess that's my opinion of it. But my point is, what about we'll call it maybe $100 million in missed revenue, missed opportunity, and smearing of his name? What's all that worth? I mean, the numbers could be completely staggering. But Trevor Bauer right now, of course, is stuck playing baseball over in Japan, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But look, this guy, he's legit. He was an all-star in 18. He won the Cy Young Award in 20. He was a Major League Baseball first teamer, all Major League Baseball first team in 20. National League earned run average leader in 2020. What's that worth? Even as an amateur, the Golden Spikes Award back in 2011. And even when he went to Japan, guess what? He was the Japanese Baseball League All-Star over there too. So the bigger question is, how much did this guy really lose? I'm going to guess north of $100 million because somebody said, I want to get my hooks into them and I want to do what? I want to get some money. What's he worth? He's worth $51 million. You heard him say that on his audio bit from X. And so in what world is that fair? Somebody please chime in on this because that is not fair in my opinion whatsoever. And the only thing that she wanted, quite honestly, I mean, it was pretty obvious, was show me the money! Right. And even, I guess, some of the people even in that system over there may have been guilty of conspiring or something. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. It's just my opinion, and I could say that. But everybody listening in on this, I don't care, man, woman, whatever. What are your ideas? Info@thesportscircus.com. Info@thesportscircus.com. I mean, that's pretty crazy stuff. Got to tell you, folks, that is crazy. It's ridiculous. And here's something else that's ridiculous. When people don't know the baseball rules, now, mind you, this is AAA baseball. We're talking the Albuquerque Isotopes, which is the Colorado Rockies AAA team, and the Reno Aces, which is the Arizona Diamondbacks AAA team. And we've got this audio clip. I want you to listen to this. This is nuts. I don't think I've ever even heard of this myself while I was a player for the years that I played. Check this out, folks.
Baseball game. Here's the...
Listen to this.
This may be the craziest ending I've ever seen in any baseball game. Here's the situation. Bottom of the ninth, 1 out. The Isotopes lead 4-3. The Aces have the bases loaded. The batter hits a ball into the right center field gap, and it looks like a walk-off. The runner from third, he scores easily and ties the game 4-4. The runner from second is rounding third, about to end the game, when he collides with a teammate who ran onto the field with a cell phone to record the celebration. It's considered unintentional interference by a team member, and the rule says if a teammate interferes with a runner unintentionally, that runner is out, but it does not qualify as a dead ball. So the runner from second is called out. The score stays tied 4-4, and the game is not over. However, the Isotope center fielder didn't know that. He also thought the game was over, so he threw the live ball into the stands. And since the game is still tied 4-4 and the ball is still live, the center fielder throwing the ball into the stands becomes an error, and by rule, when a fielder throws a live ball into the stands, all runners are awarded 2 bases from where they were at the time of the throw. The runner from first base, who was between second and third at the time, is awarded third base plus 1 more, so he gets to go home and score. So the Aces walked it off, then they didn't, then they did again anyway in a 5-4 win.
That is unbelievable. And when you things couldn't get any more strange. I have never seen that. And this is AAA baseball, folks. And a lot of times, I mean, look, people don't even know what the infield fly rule is as you're going up. And there's even some big leaguers out there that don't even, as I see it, don't even know what the infield fly rule is. Now, the idea of having a dead ball is one thing, but having a live ball, and then you're not even confirmed by the umpire if the game was over or not, throw the ball into the seats, which constitutes 2 bases, which means that runner on second base, guess what? That runner on second base scores. That is the craziest thing that I think I've ever heard of or seen. Now, I saw the video of it, and you could look for this as well. I found this on X, and it was crazy to even see this because this was right out of a Little League game, and you wouldn't imagine that professional baseball players would not know the rules. Well, guess what? They certainly didn't know the rules, and boy, I've seen some weird stuff. And when you watch that, you scratch your head in the same way with the all-star voting for Major League Baseball. And so, look, there are 2 phases to this, by the way. In case you don't know, phase 1 of the voting includes fan voting for players that they want to see in the all-star game. blah, blah, blah. And of course, fans can vote on the players that they'd like to see in each position, except for the outfield where the fans can pick 3 players in the American and National League. They can also do so up to 5 times every 24 hours, which, whatever happened to one vote? I mean, it sounds like a Democratic vote to me with all the extra votes and the harvesting and stuff. I don't know. It just seems like that's what it sounds like to me. But then again, I mean, is that a democratic process or I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, shortly after phase 1, the 2 top vote getters at each position plus 6 outfielders will be revealed. The top overall vote getter in each league will be named a starter for the All-Star game, of course, while the rest of the starting spots will be determined during phase 2. And phase 2, by the way, begins shortly thereafter phase 1, and the fans will get to vote between the top 2 or 6 in the case of the outfield post vote getters and pick the starting players at each position in both leagues. Phase 2, it ends right before the All-Star game, and the winners will be revealed later that day, etc. But how many players are on the All-Star team? 34 players on each team will be in there. 20 position players, 12 pitchers, and the fans pick up 9 player votes. The player votes actually have 16. The commissioner's office gets 8. I wonder what the odds are on that. We're going to talk about odds in the next segment. And then the final vote for 1 more. And so, of course, this All-Star game being played over in Atlanta at Truist Park, home of the Atlanta Braves, WAUD, everybody listening in on there. Guess what? The All-Star game is going to be right there in your backyard. And that is on WDJY 99.1 FM. All right, back here in a few minutes with more chaos here on the Sports Circus. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello Americans, it's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time. That's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Excellent. Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which can be found on all streaming platforms, including Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, Pandora, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, plus many, many more. Also, make sure you check out the partners page. Lots of great partners over there. One of those is Al's Number One Italian Beef at 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef. The original in the business. The family founded their business in 1938. They created the sandwich, the Italian beef sandwich, in 117 years ago? Yeah, it's about 117 years ago. And so I have to tell you, folks, it's the best in the business. It's the original. And boy, is it good. If you can't get over there in Little Italy, check them out at alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. And you can read all about the origination of that Italian beef sandwich and the story when they opened up way back in 1938. That's Al's Number One Italian Beef. Check them out at alsbeef.com. All right, welcome back to everybody. You know who you are, TV, radio. And we're going to take a quick look before we get into odds and probabilities and all this other fun stuff. Going to take a look real quick at Major League Baseball's standings as they are right now. And so we're going to start in the American League in the East. We're going to look at the Yankees are about 15, 16 games over 500 and about 6.5 up on the Rays. Yes, the second place Rays. And, of course, the Rays are tied with the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays are expected to be there. They're expected to contend. The Red Sox have fallen off a little bit since they haven't had Alex Bregman back on the squad with that quad injury. I don't know. I sure hope he comes back. I've got him on my fantasy baseball team. And still the Orioles, although they're essentially 7-3 or 8-2, whatever, in their last 10, they're still 13 games under 500. And, boy, do they dig themselves a hole. They're finally starting to play a little bit. But Baltimore, man, you really found yourself in a very, very, really deep hole. Did I say rarely? I don't know. Very rare. Who the hell knows what I said, but it's a very rare deep hole. It doesn't matter. Either way, those guys are out a ton. Over in the American League Central, it is the Detroit Tigers. Actually, it's the best team in baseball right now, record-wise. Looks like they're about 17 games over 500 with their loss today, but they still have 40 wins. I mean, that's pretty damn good. 17, 18 games over 500. They're playing at 645. They're winning 64.5% of their games, and that's pretty good because the rest of the division actually is pretty good too. The Minnesota Twins, you can call them the Twinkies, are 6 games over and 6 games back. The Clevelands, because I don't want to call them the Guardians, we'll call them the Clevelands, they are 5 games over and 6.5 back. And even the Royals, who I actually have winning the division, are 3 over but 7.5 back. I think eventually the Royals are going to make a deal. They're going to probably pick up a couple of players at the deadline, and they're going to push the Tigers out of first place. Tigers going to end up as a wild card team. But you could see 3 playoff teams in that division. Now, over in the American League West, it is, the cream rises to the top again, and that's the Houston Astros. They just seem to keep retooling. And now they're right back on top where they belong, 6 games over 500, a half a game over the Mariners. The Mariners just can't seem to hold it. And part of it is because their hitting is so poor, generally speaking. They've got a couple of guys, obviously, that could do it, namely the catcher position and a couple of other guys. But generally speaking, the Mariners are all pitching. They really don't hit the ball so well. And the Rangers are an enormous disappointment at 3 under 500. Hell, if they were playing 500 ball, they'd be right there a game or so out of first place. But the Rangers right now are 3 under. And how about the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, of Orange County, the Orange Curtain, of Interstate 5, of Earth, the longest name in baseball, the Los Angeles Angels. Those guys are playing pretty good ball right now. And they're actually playing much better on the road. They're over 500 on the road, and they're 5 under at home. And even the A's, we'll just leave them as the A's because they really are the Las Vegas A's, but right now they're in Sacramento, so they're Sacramento A's. They're certainly not the Oakland A's, but in any event, they won't be the Las Vegas A's for another few years when that stadium is done right here in town on the site of the Tropicana Hotel. But the A's have some real shining stars in Rooker and Wilson and Laureano, and I mean, there's all kinds of good players on that team. I tell you what, when the A's come to Las Vegas, I think they're going to be a real bona fide contender, and they'll be ready to win. I mean, it's just a few years away, but these kids are going to be developing, and the A's historically have had a very good farm system. They've put a lot of players in Major League Baseball all the way down to their rookie league club. Right? And we're talking, right at the base level of Class A ball. So, look, the A's may sit back 11 games, but they're not out of it. I think any team in the American League West can win that division. Now, over the National League, it's the Mets back about a half a game up on the Phillies. And the Phillies, they have their problems in the bullpen. They just can't seem to get it together in the bullpen. And that's the reason they haven't really pulled away as one would imagine they would. They're literally a half a game out and 14 over 500. And they're playing very well on the road and very well at home. In fact, there are 7 over at home, 7 over on the road. I mean, these guys are pretty damn good, but the issue is they can't close the games out. And remember, their closer ended up with that 80-game suspension for the performance-enhancing drugs, if I'm not mistaken. And so the Nationals sit 9.5 back, 9 games behind the Phillies, and they are 4 under, but the Nats are playing pretty good ball as well. The Braves are slowly digging out of it. They're 10 back, and the Braves just got Ronald Acuna Jr. back. So the Braves are playing a lot better ball now. Watch out for the Braves as they creep up that ladder, and they may find themselves right there in the winner's circle at the end of the season. And, of course, it's the Marlins holding up the rear at 13 games under, and they're a pretty bad baseball team. I mean, let's face it. They're just not very good. And it starts, in my opinion, with their general manager, Peter Bendix. I just can't get over the first move that guy ever made of getting rid of Luis Ariz, sending at that time, the 2-time batting champion out to San Diego from Miami, and when he was already a big fan favorite in Miami. So they send away the fan favorite, and also they pay his salary. They pay $8 million to the Padres on top of it just so they could pay this guy. It's crazy. Now, over in the National League Central, it's the Northsiders from Chicago, 16 games over 500. Boy, I got to tell you, they're looking pretty damn good these days. I mean, they're winning on the road. They're winning at home. They're 7 over on the road, 9 over on the road, or 9 away, 9 over at home, I should say. I mean, they're a good ball team. They don't have a lot of weaknesses on the team. Speed, hitting, pitching is solid. Bullpen, maybe a little questionable. But they score so many damn runs that the bullpen, I won't say it's not needed because every bullpen is needed, but man, they score a lot of runs. The Cardinals still, despite the Northsiders playing pretty well, the Cardinals are only 5 games back, and they're 10 over at home, but they are 4 under on the road. But they sit 6 games over 500 and only 5 back. The Brewers, a very, very good Brewers team that plays good fundamental baseball, they are 4 over and 6 games back. I think the Brew Crew could probably win that division. The Reds at 2 under, but you don't even know what's going to happen with this club. The Reds, we've got the Reds. I picked them at the beginning of the season. Sell the bookmaker, picked the Reds at 84 wins. Somebody had asked me from Cincinnati, what do you think about the Reds? I said, well, I think the Reds are probably 3 games over 500. And that's basically about it. And right now they're 2 under 500. So it looks like if they can hold on to this pace, they'll be right there. And the Pirates, believe it or not, the Pirates are in last place. When I say believe it or not, with Some of the players on that team, you scratch your head and you ask, how the hell could they be in last place? They're 17 under. And Paul Skeens is still going 7, 8, 9 innings deep into these games, giving up a run and still giving up a run, folks, one run, and still losing games. I mean, that's crazy. I don't even understand it. How he doesn't end up on a different team, I'll never know, but apparently he's not going anywhere. Over the National League West is the Dodgers up by 1 game over the Padres, just 1 game. Now, that's pretty damn good. Those Padres are hanging in there. Problem is the Padres play station-to-station ball, whereas the Dodgers will steal bases. That's the difference. And by the way, right behind them, only 4 games off the pace, are the San Francisco Giants. And the Giants are playing very good ball at home, but they don't win too many games on the road. The Diamondbacks at 7.5 back. I still have the Diamondbacks winning the division. I think the Diamondbacks are a very, very good balanced club. And, of course, they're only 2 under. But then you've got the worst team in baseball in the Colorado Rockies with an abysmal 11 wins out of 61 games. That's really bad, folks. That is record-setting material right there. They're going to wipe out what the White Sox did and erase their name from that dubious distinction from what they had to deal with last year. And it's going to be the Rockies taking over that horrific all-time worst record. In my opinion, I think that's what's going to happen. But we'll see. We're going to be back here in just a few minutes on the circus. We're going to go into the odds and then maybe a little something more depending on time. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you served in the Marine Corps, by now you know about the contaminated water problem at Camp Lejeune. If you were stationed or worked at Camp Lejeune from 1953 to 1987, you probably have a lot of questions. We have some answers. You could be entitled to compensation. Billions of dollars are being allocated to pay for damages to anyone stationed at Camp Lejeune during that time. Unfortunately, it appears that officials may have known the contaminated water problem existed and did little to protect their men. The Semper Fi code was not honored. If you or someone in your family has developed a serious illness, including various forms of cancer, call this Camp Lejeune legal support line right now. You can't turn back the clock and change what happened, but you can certainly call right now and learn your rights as a Marine. Here's the number.
Call 800-335-7196. 800-335-7196. That's 800-335-7196.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, again, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, which can be found on streaming platforms. And also check out the store tab right across the top. There's one that says store. Pick up your favorite Sports Circus hats, t-shirts, coats, sweatpants, coffee mugs, travel mugs, pillows, mouse pads, you name it. They're all there. Even beanies for wintertime or your ball caps. thesportscircus.com, hit store, and mention your ringmaster Sal for an extra 10% off of anything you pick up over there. Yes! A shameless plug, of course, for the Sports Circus. Gotta like that. All right, welcome back to everybody on radio and TV. Big welcome back to everybody driving up and down Interstate 15, listening on 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM Highway Country Radio, and all of our friends over in Atlanta, WDJY 99.1 FM, plus Auburn, Alabama, WAUD, and everybody else in all other markets. I just want to call those ones out specifically because we want to and because I can do that. All right, moving on. So somebody had made a request, and it was in the listening audience for 101.5 FM on that Highway Country Radio and 107.3 FM. And I said, okay, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit of sports betting and prognostication as Sal the Bookmaker. I've been doing this for quite some time, folks, and I've been pretty good against the Vegas line. Historically, very, very good. Over the last 6 odd years running, 82.4% against the line. That's right, you heard it, 82.4% against the Vegas line. Show me the money! That's right. And you know what it is I'm not having information going out where I'm trying to pick 5, 10, 15 games, whatever the heck it is, or all these prop bets. I stay away from the prop bets. Generally speaking, folks, I look at the games themselves. I'm looking for one game. That's it. One game every 1, 2, 3, 4 days. That's it. You don't have to go crazy and bet every day a whole bunch of teams. I know somebody that bets those 10 to 20 team parlays, super teasers and whatnot, and they're fun. The problem is the probability of winning those is very, 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 very low. And sure, you put up a very small amount and you could get back a very nice rate of return. Maybe put up $10, you might be able to win $1,000. The problem is the odds are really long against you, despite you're getting all the advantages. For example, in football with all the extra points. The problem is, if you're looking at all these games, there's so much monkey business going on, in my opinion, in them. It's hard enough to pick one winner, let alone 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, whatever. And so you've got to be really good at understanding probability and watching the money. So all these people that you do the retail betting, these are all retail bettors. They'll go to their favorite, one of those online betting companies. I don't want to name any of them. So they'll go to these online betting places where you can bet 5, 10, 20, $50, whatever the hell it is, on pick your favorite prop bet or whatever. They're constantly trying to barrage the audience with making a bet. Oh, we'll give you a big rate of return. We'll give you free bets in case you lose and all this other crap. And so a lot of those, it's even hard to get your money out. Even if you do happen to win, they make it really difficult, as I've seen, to collect the money out of those accounts. And you have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops. Getting it in there, oh yeah, use your credit card, use your debit card, whatever the hell it is. But when it comes to getting your money out, I mean, it's pulling teeth to get your money out of there. And so a lot of times people will just get fed up with it and keep betting and betting and betting until they finally say, I'm done with this anyway. I don't care about the money. And so these companies just continue to take money. So as I see it, you're better off being right at the sports book, watching what you're supposed to watch. Watch the line movements, go from the opening, looking for the whales. You're looking for certain movement. And let's face it, the odds makers already know a lot about what's going on with the betting. But when you have the whales come in that move the line, you have to watch which way they're moving it, but you also have to watch in the time in which they're doing it and why they're doing it, because what perceived information had come out at that particular time to have somebody come in and drop 10 or 15 dimes on a game, and maybe that's going to move the line from minus 110 to minus 120 or something like that. It depends on if it's a 10-cent line or a 20-cent line or even a 5-cent line. So the reality is, if you're trying to understand the betting world, it's very, very unfair, as I see it, for people to be using those online betting services, because they just, in my opinion, they just set up the players, being all the gamblers out there, to lose over and over and over, because they're not in the free money business. No. They want to take your money business. They have no idea of what it's like to lose money on a regular basis because they're used to taking everybody else's money. But you've got to be the smart gambler. And so if you know how to follow the money, and if you want to learn how to follow the money, or better yet, learn how to get a little bit of information so you can maybe pick up some good tips and good information on maybe selecting games, info at thesportscircus.com. That's info at thesportscircus.com. I used to do a show a while back called Place Your Bet. And Place Your Bet was it ran for a pretty fair amount of time, quite a few episodes. And the station that we were with, they changed their format, so we had to leave the station at that time. I never really did continue that over your regular traditional stations, because I already had the Sports Circus running, and Sports Circus has been running I'm in my 9th year with this. And so that in itself, that's a very long-running show with, thank you very much, thousands of episodes of the Sports Circus out there, and that is my baby. But when I think of the idea of betting in games, I say I would like to help people, and people would spend money to get some information on how to do this, that, and the other, whatever. And it seemed like they did very, very well. But the games that were picked were based off of money movement, not the injury report, not the weather report in this particular place or that particular place. I love this. So I'm on a particular site right now. And this particular site talks about all the different things that you can actually use, from these statistics to weather reports to injury reports to which way this group of experts has picked. I'm looking at it right now. Injury history, standings, scheduling, and the news in these news in these teams, et cetera, and so forth. But what they're not telling you is the probability of things occurring. They're focusing on statistics of things that have happened in the past. And last time I checked, the statistics of something that has happened doesn't indicate what's going to happen in the next event. And that's why for those people that play craps, I love the game of craps. So when they're rolling the dice are the most random, non-computerized thing in the world. And so the probability of certain events happening are very, well, let's put it this way. If you don't understand probability of events happening, chances are you're not going to make any money at the dice table, which in my opinion is the best game in the city to play or in the casino to play whatsoever. Of course, I'm in Vegas, I could say that. But you can actually take the odds away from the house in the dice game or the game of craps. So now the question is, can you do that in sports betting? Well, you can't do that, but you could tilt certain combinations in your favor. So, and I'm going to get away from the individual game betting, and I'm going to focus strictly on a 3-team round robin. If you don't know what that is, it's basically 3 2-team parlays. And you pick 3 teams, and for example, it's $100, $100, $100, or $10, $10, $10. And for example, in football, we'll just use football for example, the 2-team parlay pays 13-5. Or $26 for $10, or $260 for $100. So the reality is, if all 3 of your teams come in, you end up winning $780 for your $100 round robin, which technically you got to put up $300, but the rate of return is really good because the reality is this: even if 2 out of 3 teams come in, well, guess what? You're talking 26-10 and 26-10, which is what? 52-20. So it's $520 in, and of which you're only putting up $300. So you lose $300, you make $520. You still end up with a nice gainer on your investment of $220 by having 2 out of 3 come in anyway. So the reality is, if you understand the probability of payment and what the actual odds are for payment, now you can make yourself money with just 2 out of 3 coming in. I mean, if 3 out of 3 come in, you're in great shape. If 1 out of 3 come in, you lose all your money. But if you're picking 1 out of 3 in the first place, well, you don't belong betting anyway. And frankly, I don't think anybody belongs betting. But there are ways that you can take advantages away from a payout standpoint. And as I look at it, I say, well, all right, well, how does that work in baseball? Well, in baseball, we have a little different dynamic because we have actual lines for the games. And so you'll have maybe Team X will be a 150 favorite. You got to put up 150 to win 100. Or maybe Team B will be a plus 140 or even a plus 200, right? So you put up 100 to win 300. But the reality is, if you parlay those together, you can actually make a very, very fair amount of money. But the trick is, with round robins, if you're betting baseball, you want to keep the 3 teams averaged at right around even money. So that $780 for $300 payout, $300 buy-in actually holds out. That's really what you're after. Try to keep it as close to even money per team as possible. So we're not trying to pick a favorite. We're not trying to pick an underdog. We're trying to take those teams that are basically at a picket, right? So that's the 100 or plus 110 or minus 110 kind of games. That's really what we're after for that formula to work. And it actually does work. So if you think you could pick 2 out of 3, you could do those all day long. 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 200 here, 200 here, 200 here. Before you know it, you made $1,000 a day. That's if you're any good at it. But my point is, you've got to know how to follow the money to place these bets or to pick these teams in the first place. And frankly, I don't give a damn what the World Series odds are. I mean, sure, the Dodgers are plus 225, the Yankees are plus 500. So here, if you don't think the Dodgers are going to win the World Series, well, technically, you could pick any 1, 2, 3, 4 minimum of 5 teams. If the Yankees, Tigers, Phillies, Mets, Cubs, for example, it's the next 5 teams. And the best price is 5-1 on those. So technically, you could put $100 on each one of those. And if any of those teams win except the Dodgers, you at worst get a break even. At best, you'll double your money, maybe even triple your money. Right? But if you want the Dodgers to win, if you think the Dodgers are going to win, you'll basically have to put up $100 to win $225 for the Dodgers, and then go pick another team. Maybe it's the Yankees. Maybe it's the top 2 teams. The Yankees are plus 500. So let's just say it's the Yankees over the Dodgers. Well, you end up making 500 there, but you lose 100, so you clear 400 if you just pick those 2 teams. And if it's the Dodgers, they're plus 225, and the Yankees, for example, are plus 500, so you still end up making $25 at plus 225 because the Yankees wouldn't win anyway. So again, it's understanding math, probability, and frankly, folks, it's just money management. Info at thesportscircus.com if you want to talk a little bit more about that. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, and we'll see you in 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.